Hey everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Set. I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Kevin.
And it was the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend.
It was
Red Bull's home
race. Max's third home race.
But before we jump into everything, just want to remind everybody to follow on social media. Like, subscribe, all that at Fresh Set Podcast. And then wherever you get your podcasts, don't forget to like, share, turn on auto downloads, and just listen along. Helps us out. But yes, Austrian Grand Prix, F1 movie release this weekend. Which we did go see, and we'll talk about later on. No spoilers though. And I mean, I don't think there's really any spoilers.
How can you spoil? I mean, really, other than like the ending, really.
Yeah.
Not much of a spoiler there.
The realistic ending. I mean, the whole thing is really unrealistic. Yeah. But anyways, let's see. Austria. I was like, where are we? That's why I'm having coffee. Okay, it's got to get my coffee in. So, we have the Austrian Grand Prix. This is Red Bull's home race. It's called the Red Bull Ring. Usually a fun track because they have that. I mean, it's a kind of a climb up by the stands there. And so we went into the weekend on Thursday. There were some interviews, nothing really of importance. Actually, George made a comment.
I missed that comment.
George made a comment that, his contract negotiations are being delayed because he knows that Toto is talking to Max's team, yeah. Which I don't know if that was just
announced. They announced the contract.
Yeah.
But then Toto's also like, well, I would love to pair Max with George.
Yeah.
Way to just crush your rookie's confidence.
Yeah, which I don't think
next coming.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if that was like a fire for George lighting a fire for Mercedes being like, I know what's going on. Like, just sign me.
And then he had to be, very diplomatic. Like, well, if you reset everybody's contracts and nobody had a contract for next year, everybody would be going after Max. Well, no, duh.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So, the
only other thing I had from the interviews was, and it's funny because they had interviews with, not this weekend, but previous, just because of the F1 movie. Jameson Idris, they'd asked him like something that you didn't realize about the the F1 things in F1 or whatever, in the F1 world. He always thought that Max didn't have any friends because that's the way the media portrays him, that he's just a prick and an asshole.
Yeah.
He says, but he's cool with everybody and he's just great. Yeah. Right. And so they also asked him on Thursday. Again, have you seen the F1 movie? Knowing full well he didn't go to the driver's showing. He didn't go to any of the premieres in either England or New York.
Yeah.
He's not going to, you're just trying to goad him into an answer. And he's like, no, is it on Apple TV? He's like, well, you could go to the cinema. But he's not going. So stop trying to make him out to be an asshole.
Yeah. And he's never, even if he does watch it, I'm sure he got a screening that he could watch at home. He's never going to talk about it.
Doesn't care.
No, he's not going to talk about it.
Enough's enough sometimes.
Yeah. Just leave him alone. He's not going to give you the answers. Just leave him alone.
Well, they also asked him again this weekend. He's got 2 points this weekend. Is it going to change his driving style? And he got really upset at that and said, I'm done. We've talked about this before. Yeah. Why do we have to keep going over this?
Yeah.
And then he just didn't even answer the question.
Well, and that's, I think, what they push for, right? They push for it to press his
Of course.
buttons, and he's gonna react in some way, and then they're gonna be mad that he reacted. So
Maybe they're
it's
trying
like
to get him
a
a
penalty
penalty.
point.
Yeah, for swearing at an interview.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So Friday free practice. The normals. Except we saw George Russell, which I mean he's been doing well. He was up there with the free practices.
Yeah.
And then we went to quali.
Yes.
There wasn't much in.
Not much in free practice. We had a couple
in the
of
free
rookie
practice.
showings.
Yeah. But we went to quali and the usual suspects, except for in
Yeah.
Q1 we saw, which they've kind of become the usual suspects at this point.
Yeah. I guess how long can we say it?
Yeah. We see Sainz and Yuki Tsunoda knocked out in Q1, which is
not just barely out, but 18th and 19th.
Yeah.
Now I can't remember. Was Sainz impeded a little bit? I think he might have been, and that's where he lost a little bit.
He was. Because I remember him yelling on the radio.
Yeah. Which put him into that run put him into 15th or 14th.
Yeah.
And then was very easily dropped down after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Yuki, what's the excuse for Yuki?
We don't have one.
there was none.
They haven't adjusted the distance from his seat to his pedals yet, so he can't get enough. He can't push down far enough.
He can't push down.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
I mean, really, there's at this point, what is the excuse? It's just you can't be having the Haas's, or both Haas's. You can't be, and not consistently, but you can't be having the Haas's ahead of you, the Saubers ahead of you, when you have what is supposed to be the number one car. Can't have on the grid.
You can't have your junior team ahead of you. You shouldn't.
That too. Both the junior drivers,
who are basically running an older version of your car.
Yeah. It's not good.
No.
Q2 was delayed, or no, there was a red flag in the middle of Q1 because there was a
grass fire.
Grass fires again.
Yeah, grass fires. Yeah.
This is our third race with grass fires, so
yeah.
It's just very hot, and I guess the when the cars are driving and there's sparks flying everywhere, but it won't be the only fire that we see this weekend. So
no.
But anyways, so Q2 we have who's out there?
Q2 we have Behrman, Colapinto. This is in reverse order. Behrman, Colapinto, Hadjar, Albon, and Alonso.
Yeah. So, I mean,
the notable one here is we don't see that other Sauber out in Q2. We see Bortoleto getting his first. Will be getting his first. Did get his first Q3 appearance of his career, and he's been quick all weekend. He
is slowly putting speed into that, and this weekend and more in the race, I kind of remembered. I'm like, he was the F2 drivers champion.
Yeah,
he's just hasn't been in the best car, but he's now starting to pull something from it.
But he's in a Sauber.
Yeah, but it's easy to forget where somebody was when they're not in the right car. And I think you can say the same thing about Sainz. Sainz was the only person to win against Red Bull for almost a year and a half. Yeah. So, he was consistently getting points and podiums as well. And now it's he's the Williams that's not finishing.
Well,
usually.
Yeah. Usually. I don't know what they're doing to his car, but he's still quick in that if they give him a car that works, he's still good. It's just it's easy to forget that someone was a champion in F2, and it is different, but again, like you said, it's a different car. He's in what is on paper the worst car. Well, you look at the difference between Bortoleto and Antonelli, who Antonelli didn't have a great the greatest of weekends today,
Yeah.
this weekend. But he, you put him in a Mercedes and he shows really well.
Yeah.
You see potential, whether he
Yeah.
makes mistakes or not, whatever. But
Yeah.
you do something to somebody else of that same caliber, which is Bortoleto. You put him in a
Yeah.
car that can actually race, and
You
he's
get to see.
consistently going to be getting points. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You get to see. And then we go into Q3. Normal people at the top. We see Max at one point P1. We see the McLarens overtake that. And then we kind of start to see like the Russells and the Leclercs start to split the McLarens and push down Max. And, Max is going for his last run. Lewis had a pretty decent run at one point as well. And we almost right at I think it was pretty much like 11 seconds left. And Max is on a flying lap. Oscar is about to start a flying lap. And we see a yellow flag. And Pierre Gasly has spun right onto the gravel. Yeah. And of course, at that point, everybody's got to slow down, reduce speed. And you could see it instantly in Max's car, how slow he gets, or he has to ease off. And then very quickly, the green flag goes again. But time is essentially done at that point, and Max gets stuck in 7th. Oscar
1
doesn't.
second behind Lando.
Yeah. Oscar doesn't get to do his final run, but he had already put up a half decent time. He was in 3rd. And Lando keeps his first place, his P1.
I mean, and I get he didn't get to start his last lap, Piastri, but he was still a half a second down on his teammate.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of time to find in that last lap. I don't know that he would have been. He could have done enough to start in 2nd.
Yeah.
But to beat Lando on that time, I don't think it was going to happen.
Yeah. And I mean, we had some shockers as well with where they were finishing. Again, having to do with being held up. But we see Lando, Charles, Oscar, Lewis in 4th, George in 5th, Liam Lawson in 6th. Max in 7th, Gabriel Bortoleto in 8th, which is his, like we said, first Q3.
And then to not be in 10th last in your first Q3, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and then we have Kimi and Gasly. So, I mean, half decent, a big mix up of cars all in the top 10. So, makes to be an exciting race, which we go into Sunday, and that's exactly what it is. It's 70 laps in Austria. It's a quick track. Very quick.
Fastest
very,
track. Well,
very quick track.
It's 70 laps. It's not that long. I think we have the most amount of laps we have on the calendar, I believe, is 72.
Yeah.
This is 70, but there's 3 DRS zones.
Yeah.
So it's a quick,
Yeah, and I think, I mean, the times during qualifying were what, 103?
3, 103.
I think was like Lando's fastest at one point.
So basically, they're 1 minute 4 seconds.
Yeah, they're doing this really quickly.
And the lap's so quick that there's only like a couple of seconds between first and 20th.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a lot of time to find in all of these.
Yeah. So we are getting ready to go formation lap. Lights on, lights off for the formation lap, and everybody goes. Sainz, who is in 19th, 18th. He's not moving. He is still sitting in his spot, and Lando is like almost halfway around the track, and Sainz can't get his car going. It was stuck in first gear, and he just couldn't move.
Well, he said it was stuck in first gear, but there was also that like he couldn't move. Even when he got it into gear, he couldn't move it, and it wasn't going. We had marshals trying to push him. They looked like they were struggling.
Yeah, it just wasn't working. I think eventually they had to put it into neutral, and then they rolled him, and then he was able to
Yeah.
restart. But um, FIA had to abort the lap because by the time he's able to go, you can see Lando coming around
Yeah.
the corner, the final corner to restart or to start the race, I should say.
And
So it
because
was an
he's so
aborted
far
lap.
down, he's going to have to
Yeah,
start in the pit lane.
yeah. So he's able to get the car going. Does his lap. It is aborted start was a 10-minute
10 minutes,
delay.
yeah.
So all the mechanics are able to go back to the cars and do what they need to do and warm all the tires up again. Carlos goes around, comes through the pit lane, is then saying that he's struggling to brake. And as he's going through the pit lane, you can see smoke.
Yeah.
And he stops at the end of the pit lane where he's a little bit further than he should be starting. And then the car is just on fire. The back of the car is
both back tires.
both
Brakes.
tires brakes. And it seemed like they struggled to put the fire out. Like
But
they were
They were
they were
all the way
struggling.
into the pit lane, and
Yeah.
even when they were in the pit in their
Pit
garage,
exit.
they were
Yeah.
still using the fire extinguishers.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, I don't know if it's smart to put the car in the garage while it's still while we're still
fine.
concerned about it. But I mean, he has to retire the car, even though they do have this 10-minute window. That I mean, the car's been on fire. I don't think it's
there's too much damage. I don't think it's gonna happen.
it's not worth it. So he has to retire. The 10 minutes goes by. Second formation lap at minus Carlos. And we go racing. Lights on, lights off. We go racing. Pretty good start. Lando gets a great start. Oscar in third gets a really good start and is able to pass Charles very quickly. And
Well,
get
yeah,
into
Charles
second.
goes for a move on Lando, and then it just doesn't work, and
Yeah.
Oscar just takes the opportunity to get ahead of him and
He
never
says,
look
"Thank
back.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks for this." And then what is it? Corner the second or third corner
It was second.
or first? Yeah, whatever.
Might have been first.
Antonelli, who, like we said, was all the way in ninth, is trying to make a move on Liam and Bortoletto because Max has been able to get up one position or get a couple of positions, I think. And he makes a move, goes to the outside, hits his brakes, and just totally locks up, goes absolutely straight, and he hits somebody, and he hits Max. And both cars are just, they both spin, they go onto the shoulder, and they're both out. And I was just
And then
shocked.
just seeing the hit, like I didn't really think, I thought they hit, but Antonelli's car was destroyed.
Yeah.
The wheel was off. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it was that bad of a hit.
Max's car looked okay, but
Yeah.
Antonelli's
just
car
like-
was bad.
Yeah.
But I guess when you T-bone somebody,
So yeah.
that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, we have right away. We have Carlos Sainz out, who didn't start. We have Kimi Antonelli out, and then Max out very early on, which kind of sucks as it's, again, like we said, Red Bull's home race. Max's second home, third home. So not a good start for Red Bull when they have Yuki starting in 18th.
18th. Yeah.
So not a good start for them. But very quickly after the restart, which there was a safety car. Safety car came in. Lando didn't try to back up anybody. He just green lights and he went. Like he was just not waiting for it. And I think that's a spot where Lando hasn't always been great with like the safety car restarts. So he was like, I'm not going to do what everybody else does. I'm just going to go.
Well, when you got the fastest car, you're only worried about Oscar behind you.
Right. And he should have been, because Oscar never left his side after that.
No.
Oscar was all over the back of.
Well, as Christian puts it, making love to his tailpipe.
Yeah. What a way to say that.
Well, I
But
guess you're that close. You're basically inside of him.
yeah, oh my God. So I mean, yeah, they're fighting. It's great fighting. They're side by side. They're jockeying positions. Oscar takes on this corner. Lando overtakes on the next corner. Like it was just, it was
There
really
were
good.
there was a couple of risky moves from
Yeah,
Oscar, which he
yeah,
said right there. He's like, "Oh, I don't know what I was doing."
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, but he is somebody that will take a risk, uh, and he knows when to back out of it, and he knows when he makes a mistake. So, uh, but I mean, very quickly, those both of the McLarens, with this fighting that they're
yeah,
doing, they're ahead by 4 seconds. And usually,
yeah.
when you're fighting that hard against and defending, and you're not going to be gaining as well.
No,
And they
everybody has the
were,
opportunity to catch up. Yeah,
yeah, and they were not. They were already, they're fighting themselves. So they had the space to do it, and they were just doing that for a little bit, and then eventually, uh, Oscar kind of had to back off from
yeah,
attacking so hard, and then it just kind of sat where it was for a little bit, and then we start with strategy and tire changes and all that. But um, then we see Albon retire the car. He comes in for what we think is new tires, and Williams just puts him on, jacks up the
forget
car,
it.
and says,
Yeah,
"Yeah, we're just gonna leave. We're gonna get ready for Silverstone."
yeah. We've spent too much money on fire extinguishers today. Where are you on?
Yeah, we actually don't have any more fire extinguishers, so he retires. Um, then what do we have after that? Piastri does make a crazy lunge that, like you said, he said, I don't know what I was doing there.
Well, he tried it from ways back,
Yeah,
and then which I mean he wouldn't have made that stick no matter what. But then all of a sudden he locks up and loses control, and
yeah,
very nearly just takes out his own teammate.
yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be a talk about that.
Which, can you imagine that they did 2 races in a row that they have come
They come together.
together?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it made for entertaining watching.
Yeah.
It just a little too dangerous. And right after he does this move, and I mean, he does get a call from a radio message saying, if you are able to, his team, depending how you listen to it, his team is saying, if you can get past Lando, you'll get the first pit stop. If not, it'll be
Yeah.
Lando. So I guess he's trying to be like, I want to
I
be the
need
one
to
on.
get-
So he does this, and then he locks up, and then very quickly they're like, okay, Lando, come in.
Yeah.
So they wasted no time, and they get a call on the radio as well that kind of says, keep it clean. It's totally up to you guys.
Yeah. You're
what
allowed to
doing.
fight, but just
Yeah.
make sure that if you're going to make that move, that you can make that move. That
Yeah.
it's not a risk.
Yeah, you're not risking both
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah.
We got lucky last weekend that it was just one car. We can't risk both cars.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we have these little spurts of excitement, and then the race just settles for a little bit. We've got fights in the midfield. We've got, stuff going on, but there was a lot of strategy calls, tire calls. What are people going to do? When are people going to make their changes? And again, even with the McLarens, you can kind of hear the teams, like you hear Lando's radio and you hear Oscar's radio, and you know that the team is just like, well, we're covering our driver, and that's
Yeah.
it. You worry about yours, I'm worrying about mine. Right now, we're racing because we are, 11, 13, 22 seconds
Yeah.
ahead of everybody else.
Well, you could
So.
see that they didn't really care anyways because they had slow pit stops, both of
Yeah.
them, the first pit stops, and it meant
Yeah.
nothing to
No.
at least to the rest of the field.
No.
It did
No.
it absolutely nothing. They
Yeah, and
were at 3.5 and 3.7, I think, on
Yeah.
Lando's or Oscars, and
Yeah.
really, other than to their fight to each other, it meant absolutely nothing.
No,
There was-
Charles wasn't catching. At one point, Lewis was leading when the two of
That's
them
because he
went
hadn't
into the pit
changed.
stop.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't, it didn't make a difference. Like, I think
No.
at one point I had looked and they could have double stacked, which I thought they should have done. It was towards the end, but they could have double stacked, made a mistake, and still come
And
out
still been
1-2.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it still came out 1-2.
Well, I mean,
But yeah,
I mean, we don't have to, we could spoil it. It's fine. We know they finished 1-2, but
yeah,
they also finished, Oscar finished 19, almost 20 seconds ahead of Charles.
yeah, yeah. They were lapped up to, they had lapped cars
double,
up.
oh, sorry, yeah.
Yuki was double lapped.
Yuki was double lap, but Yuki also had to come in for a
10-second penalty.
A 10-second penalty and the wing change when he came together with Colapinto.
Yeah. So they double lapped him, but they were lapped up to 7th.
7th, Alonso. Yeah. After they just gotten past Alonso on the last lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was, again, but when you have a lap that is, or a track that is fast, short, 3 DRS zones, like, you're going to be launched pretty quickly up into the traffic that's behind. But
well, I think the average lap, like race lap, was about 1.8 to 1.9 seconds. Not 1 point, but 1 minute 8 seconds.
Yeah.
And Liam Lawson was 67, so just right there on the cusp of that, behind Lando. 67 seconds.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean,
and he's in 6th.
Yeah, like, it's just crazy. And it shows how fast the McLarens just really are, and they're in a world of their own. Yeah, but even Leclerc, who was in 3rd, at one point I looked, and Lewis in 4th was like 9 seconds behind him.
Well, he finished 10 seconds behind Leclerc.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening? But I mean, when you are like someone like Leclerc, who is 19 seconds behind, or 17 seconds, I guess, at the end behind Oscar, 19 behind Lando, but that's fresh air.
Yeah.
17 seconds of clear air that you're,
what I'm finding interesting is, like, at some point, like, this is maybe like lap 20, 25, we see Lewis and George fighting for position.
Yeah.
Like, they're going at it. They're going at it hard.
Yeah.
Lewis still finished 30 seconds ahead of George.
Yeah.
I don't understand where this gap came from. I'm looking at it now. I didn't realize it was so long.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching it, and I remember going through, and when you finish the race, obviously when the leader finishes, everybody he's lapped, they have their little checkered flag that shows up.
Yeah.
Very shortly after was Oscar, then Charles and Lewis. And I'm looking, and then the only two people that don't have flags on them are George and Liam. And it's for the longest time. Obviously, it's been in like another 30, 35 seconds. And I'm like, how far back was this?
Yeah.
Now I realize it's obscene.
Yeah.
Insane.
Like, it was just, I was looking at it at one point because I was trying to figure out how high up they were lapped, because I was like, what car is that? And then I'm like, wait, that's 18 seconds. That's 9 seconds behind the 18 seconds. Yeah. Then there's this 23. I'm like, we're at a minute. Yuki is, that's what I realized. Yuki had been lapped like 2.5 times. Like, he was about to be lapped again if they had another lap to go.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. So, but again, he had to go into the pit twice. He had a penalty. Which
the penalty came quite a bit later.
Yeah. So he had drove into the side of Colapinto, basically.
Yeah.
I think that was a frustration move. He spins Franco Colapinto, but he's able to keep going.
Destroys his front wing.
Yeah. Yuki goes into the pits because he's lost this front wing. And then so he does that. And then after, which is like a 19-second pit stop, I think. Or
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was 17. And then after he takes that time, then he has this penalty that he gets for actually hitting him. And then we're getting towards the end of the race. There's maybe, I don't know, 12 laps left. And Oscar is just putting up fastest lap after fastest lap. And he is gaining on, there's a bit of a gap between them.
Well, he
I
took
don't
a
know,
gap of
5 seconds.
6 seconds. He took a
Yeah.
gap of 6 seconds at one point, down
Yeah.
to 1.7.
Yeah. And he is just fastest lap. And you can hear Lando on his radio
Yeah.
getting
I need to
nervous.
find some pace, please.
Yeah.
Help me.
Find-
Like those were his
some
words.
pace. Yeah.
Please help me.
Just begging for help because he knows that the lap times that Oscar's putting up, and he knows Oscar is going to bully him out of that position. And
Well, and his radio comes on pretty quick. His pit wall comes on pretty quick. It's like, you're fine. It's just we're just finding it in the straights. So Lando doesn't have DRS unless he's behind a back marker. And he's coming into traffic, so he knows he's in some trouble.
Yeah. So I mean, it was interesting to watch because then we have these back markers again, and the back markers can make things difficult for
because
the person in the lead.
We don't really see a lot of lone back markers. Like, they're in their own fights too, so they still have to fight their race. They have to let the racer the leaders through, but they still have their own race to race
while protecting their own positions as well. So we see even through this, like, it's almost as if Lando was struggling a little bit to get through some of these back markers, and then Oscar is just getting through them really quickly. And there's one thing my dad called me while the race was going, and so we were talking about it. And there's one thing that the people like Lewis, Alonso, Max, and Oscar too, Oscar being the younger one, but kind of like those veteran racers, they know where to do an overtake to make it. If they're doing a back marker, if they're in the lead and there's a back marker, they know to do it just before a corner so that the guy that's hunting gets stuck for that corner or whatever. And by the time they're going through whatever, I don't see Lando knowing those little tricks.
No, it looked like just frustration. It's just
like he's just like, I gotta get through. Yeah.
Come on,
like
put on your signal and get over.
Yeah, please move to the right. But like those little tips and tricks, he doesn't. I mean, I'm sure he knows them, but like in the panic moment, he's probably like.
But in the way that you're really gonna screw up your competitor, your follower,
he's missing that little evil in him like the other ones have. But at one point Oscar is, like I think you said, 1.7 behind, and he's just the 1.7 is that there's a car in between him and Lando. And that car is Franco Colapinto, who is also racing
Liam.
It must be.
It was Liam.
Yeah, he's racing Liam Lawson. Liam's able to get past him. And Colapinto moves back over to the racing line.
And
I think
squeezes. Yeah, he does. And he squeezes out Piastri, who's got a blue flag. Yeah. And there's really nowhere for him to go. It's not like there's not a curb. There's not there's no runoff. He's grass. On grass. It's a dangerous situation here. Yeah.
And Oscar is on 1 lap old tires too. Like, he had just done a pit stop.
Yeah.
And so these tires are like, they're supposed to be his fast tires to the end. It's going to help him out. No, it's going to help him beat Lando, and it doesn't happen because he gets pushed over onto the grass like I said, within a minute of having those tires on, 2 minutes of having them. So he pushes him over onto the grass, and when you see it in slow motion, it looks like he's on that grass for like 10 minutes. But it wasn't long, but it's enough to ruin the tires. And he gets past him, but he never.
It was enough to allow him to spin out if he had gone on it any longer.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of. I'm not sure he would have been able. I think he would have been able. He would have been right on Lando's tail. I
I
don't know
don't
if
think
he would
there.
have
I
got
don't.
past him.
Well, that was they said it was about a second and a half difference. He might have been close enough, but I think that the
Yeah.
back markers, for as bad as they could be for the leader, really helped out Lando this weekend.
Yeah.
Because not only that one, but even when we get to the last lap, they've got to pass Alonso and Bortoleto, who are fighting,
Yeah.
and they just get past them on the last lap. Could it have brought them a little closer together? Maybe, but
Yeah.
I think those that last little bit of fight still would have screwed them up. There wasn't
Yeah.
enough. Had there been another lap or two, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just makes it that much more hairy, I guess, because you could
Yeah.
have these back markers ruin their race completely by taking them out. Colapinto almost doing,
Yeah.
or it could help out the person in front. I think it all depends on who's friends with who on track. Which
Yeah.
I mean, they shouldn't be running like that, but it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. So, with that, like you said, Lando wins the Austrian Grand Prix. Oscar comes second, and at this point, I think he was like just under 2 seconds
Two
behind
and a half
him,
seconds.
or just over
Because
behind him.
he still had to get through Bortoleto
Yeah, that's true.
and Alonso after.
Yeah. And then we wait 17 seconds to see who comes in third, which is Charles. And then another 9-10 seconds, we have Lewis, which is I think better than Lewis has been finishing. He was like fifth and
better.
sixth.
I don't know if he was like. I think he was happy to be in fourth. He just wasn't happy with his pit wall again.
No.
He was arguing with them. They were telling him
Yeah.
to come in. He didn't want to come in.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the driver's seat. Just go if you want.
Yeah.
I mean, your boss isn't there this weekend, so it's just what you can do.
True. Well, and I mean, it begs the question: who does have final say, driver or the pit wall?
I think the driver obviously has final say because he's the one in the car. He either goes or he doesn't go. But how much do you want to keep the peace?
Yeah, fair. Well, I mean that's it. So I mean, it was good for Lewis. I think he's just.
Yeah.
But again, like we talked about it in the last. I think I said it in the last race that he's been consistent in finishing in this fifth, sixth, I'm now fourth. But he's running these races by himself. Like, other than, like you said, George and him battling in the beginning, but then George quickly went nowhere. But he's running these races by himself in a bit of fresh air, clean air from, the person in front, and he's putting up numbers that he needs, I guess.
I think he's just frustrated he's not on a podium.
Yeah.
And hasn't been for a while.
Yeah.
Well, other than not the sprint race, but.
Did he got the sprint? Has he been on a podium otherwise?
I don't.
Like in third or something?
Can remember.
I don't think so.
Not that I can remember.
I mean, I really think it's really been the McLarens, Max, George, and Charles.
Yeah.
I can't remember if Lewis has been not in the sprint race on the podium.
As far as I can.
Where did he get the sprint? Miami, right?
It was that was the first one.
Yeah. And then the race was disastrous for him. So,
pretty quickly just ended that.
Yeah. Anyways, well, that was Austria. What do we've got some news?
We do have a little bit of news. Well, I mean, actually, I don't really think I have any news. Fred Vasseur wasn't there this weekend. They've extended Vegas to 2027, which I didn't realize this was supposed to be the last year, at least on their contract, which seems ridiculous when you spend $2 billion trying to build a track and facilities and stuff. But so that's been extended to 2027.
Yeah. Actually, somebody else that missed the race, GP, Max's.
That's right. It was the first time Max did not have GP as his race engineer.
Yeah.
He had some personal things to attend to.
Yeah.
Which is the same as Fred Vasseur.
Yeah.
And Carlos Sainz Sr. no longer has officially decided not to run for FIA presidency.
Yes.
And I find it suspicious. I do.
Why?
I find it's. I don't know, because I just don't trust Ben. I feel like
Oh.
he fudged this somehow, where he's just like, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna get some dirt on you. I don't know.
Something isn't sitting right with you.
Yeah, I just don't find, like, there's nobody that's gonna run against this guy. He's had complaints. People have talked about his the ethical the ethical what's the word I'm looking for here? Questions.
No idea. Yeah.
With certain things. A lot of people have left or been ousted.
All of the drivers speak out against
Yeah.
the FIA.
Yeah. And so for him to just say no, I mean, we don't know his reasons.
Yeah.
It's
going back to rally.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever it could be. It doesn't sit well with me that as of now, he's got nobody that's going to contend for that presidency. And it's just going to be when you see something like that, when you see anything, whether it's politics or anything like this, where all of a sudden you're the only person that's running for some reason, there's not one other person who wants to at least try. It's basically a dictatorship. Like, what is this, Russia? Are we? Is it Putin versus the rest?
Yeah.
You know, is somebody gonna wind up dead if you end up running?
If you run against.
But you know what I mean. It doesn't sit well that there's not one person.
Yeah.
That is willing
wants
to
run.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was still the rumors about Susie, but those have really died down, and at this point, if they've died down this much, I just don't think
it's going to happen. No.
And I mean, I would assume, I don't know how it works, but I would assume the vote is what, November or end of the season or something like that.
It's in I don't know if the vote is in December, but he is president until December.
Okay.
It would happen probably likely shortly after that. I don't know if it would be before or after the Christmas New Year break.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he's.
I would assume by now, 6 months into the year, we would kind of know who's. Yeah.
You would have somebody that's willing to put their name in and saying, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The only piece of news I kind of had was the F2 race with the Halo, saving 2 lives again.
Yeah.
We have a crash on lap 1. Yeah, lap 1. Was it lap 1? Yeah, they were all bunched up together. So, where we have one car just flip, and it's like Halo on Halo.
Yeah.
like
he rolled over. Yeah.
Yeah, and then landed. Saving lives again. So really good there. But
greatest invention in sport, safety invention in sports history.
Yeah, definitely. And then the only other little piece of facts, I guess, that they talked about at the end of the race, Max has been taken out. He's had lap 1 failures, or, he hasn't gone through. But when Max has been taken out on lap 1, it's been twice, and it's only ever been by Mercedes. So this time it's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
It was Kimi Antonelli, and I think the last one was Lewis.
So are you saying that Toto is sabotaging his drivers, the ones that are going to leave, so he'll get, obviously that was the downfall of Lewis at Mercedes, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And this, now that he's trying to
Did I say that?
Yes, that's exactly what you said. Now that he's trying to sign Max, he's using Kimi as the pawn.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's going to be the excuse why Kimi is no longer going to be with Mercedes, because he's going to sign Max and take Kimi's seat. That's quite the theory, Sabrina.
That is quite the theory. I'm glad I came up with it
Yeah,
myself.
yeah, that sounds.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. That the
I thought
only
I was
times,
crazy for thinking that Ben was a dictator.
right?
Toto's just the
Uh,
mastermind,
he's the mastermind
evil
of this
genius. Yeah.
all. Which I mean, he could be an evil genius, but
Well,
uh,
all evil geniuses that we see in movies are like Austrian and German and
yeah,
stuff like that. So you know.
yeah, yeah, it makes sense. And then yeah, so we watched the movie. We watched F1 the
We
movie
did.
this weekend, and it was good. I mean,
You're not really
you're not
selling
selling
it.
it.
It's all
It
right.
was good.
Maybe we'll wait
Uh,
till it comes out.
I can see why the drivers had the comments that they had, but
Yeah,
I did think it was still a good movie.
yeah. I mean, there was a lot of drama for it to be, and spoiler alert, over the course of like 9 races.
Yeah.
When you look at it in that time span, like you think it's going to be over like a full season or 2 seasons
Yeah.
or whatever. It's 9 races.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of manufactured drama, which would never
Yeah.
happen, which is fine. It's a movie. It's a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
You got to make it dramatic. There were certain things about it, like how much the drivers have to make the calls, and just say, fuck it. And the team's like, all right, no problem.
Yeah.
Which I found to be a little, that would never happen.
Yeah. There was a lot of that would never happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Or that's illegal.
Yeah, or this movie could be over real quick if they actually follow the rules.
Yeah. Where's the FIA in this movie?
Yeah, but if you could just, well, they were in it. They were in it.
Yeah.
Have you? They were in
Yeah.
it, and they weren't shown to be very nice. But anyways,
Yeah.
outside of that, if you can just suspend your complete knowledge of how things work,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. If I
Yeah,
were to do
it was
that,
good.
I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10. The cinematography is great.
Yeah.
You really feel like tense in certain moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a really well done,
Yeah.
well done movie.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's Jerry Bruckheimer. Like,
Yeah.
we can't go wrong there. But I also, what I understand, like, from what the driver, and the drivers have all said,
They've
I've
enjoyed
watched
it. Yeah,
They've said, it's just not, if you are looking for F1 at its peak, or, and I think that comes from the disruption that it caused them during like the season, right? There was a lot of stuff that they had to redo, and I'm
Yeah.
sure they enjoyed it in the moment, but when you're about to get ready for a race and you have these 2 random dudes standing next to you and you've got to walk behind them or redo a podium, or
Yeah.
it takes away, and they're like, I'm tired. I just drove 70 laps. Like, let me go. I won this race. What do you mean you're telling me that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
won this race? Like,
Yeah.
so I think it did cause some just annoyance with them too. So then to see it be a drama-filled movie, I think they probably thought it would be a little
Yeah,
bit
but
more
where?
the racing. But
But yeah, but what really could you really
yeah,
do they really think they could expect something like that? I mean, it's Hollywood.
right. At the end of the day, it's
It's
Hollywood.
it's everything they hate about being in the limelight.
Yeah.
Just basically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure it's going to, box office wise, I'm sure it's going to do really well. It's probably going to bring more people into Formula One. And then they're going to be sadly mistaken when they actually watch a race and they're like, oh, you can't do that?
No.
Got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall it was a good movie.
One thing that surprised me, now knowing Lewis was an executive producer on this, the first time we see, well, I guess maybe not the first time we see Max. Well, I guess we see Sonny Hayes, so Brad Pitt, racing Max, and Max goes by him and he says, "Damn, he's good."
Yeah.
Did this go through Lewis?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he?
Oh, but Lewis wasn't there for that script change.
Yeah.
Like, he
that was an overdub after.
Yeah, it wasn't.
The original line was "fuck that guy."
Yeah. 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 I mean, I think it's funny, the little, the drivers are not like the current F1 drivers. They're not interviewed. They're not in the
No.
movie. But you see moments.
The only dialogue we have is Fred Vasseur and Zach Brown.
Yeah. I mean,
and Toto.
yeah, I mean, there is funny moments, and you could see the drivers' personalities. Like we see, and this is not really a spoiler, but at one point we do see Max give the finger, which that was from another race that they were just like, we're gonna
Which,
take
yeah,
this clip and put it
100%.
in. So
And the funny thing, like, because there's one point where he says, and that in that scene, he says that was naughty, and then gives him the finger as he goes
yeah,
by. And Max did it this weekend.
yeah,
He did it. He
yeah,
says that was very naughty,
yeah,
and then just kind of gave a guy like a wave, like, "What the hell are you
yeah,
doing?"
yeah,
So it was just very on brand.
yeah. It was. I thought it was pretty funny, and it was overall. I would agree with you. 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah.
Good race. All right. Well,
Good race.
or good movie. There was races in it too.
There was,
And-
yeah.
So Fresh Set and Dirty Air.
Oh, fresh set. I got to pick the easy one. Also, the driver of the day, Gabriel Bortoleto, just on point this weekend, showing the speed. Everybody was really happy for him. You saw Alonso at the end of it, really just going up to. I mean, he did beat him too, but going up to give him a hug. He's also, I mean, Alonso is his manager, so I'm sure he wasn't going to. Bortoleto wasn't going to take him out. Hulk was really excited for his teammate. Everybody was. So
There was double points for Sauber, so I think
it was. Yeah.
They were just happy in general, but again, happy for him.
Yeah.
That was my fresh set as well. Gabriel, I think we've seen him come alive a little bit, and it's the car as well that's coming alive, which is allowing him to show what he's capable of. And he had this moment where him and Max admit that they give each other a tow when they can during qualifying. And they're really good friends. So, there you go. Yeah. So I thought that was my fresh set as well. Dirty Air.
Dirty Air. Oh, I've got one of the two. I don't know which team I want to give it to more. I have a feeling I know what yours is going to be, so I'll go with the other one. Maybe I'm wrong, completely wrong. I don't know. The Red Bulls. Max was taken out, but so it wasn't his fault that he wasn't running in the race. But he didn't really have a great showing in practice, in qualifying. Yeah. Yuki's down. No, the reason he was probably lapped twice is because he had the 10-second and he had to stop for his wing. He might have only been down by one lap, but he still probably would have finished he finished at 16th because of all the cars, but he probably would have finished in that 15, 14, 16 spot. It's just Red Bull's just a disaster. I can't call it anything less. If it wasn't for Max, they'd be the last team on the grid. So something is wrong with that car. Something is wrong with your strategy. Something is wrong fundamentally in that team. And if you can't figure it out, Max is going to leave and you're going to be left with nothing. Yeah.
And then you will be last in the constructors in a Red Bull, which is not going to look great for them.
Which was they've been 2 years ago. Best car in history 2 years ago.
Yeah. They've been, second, third, like they can be around there, but being last would not be a good look ahead of or behind your B team.
Yeah. And you have to, you can't keep making excuses, switching drivers and this, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, it's time to really take a look in the mirror and figure this shit out.
Yeah. So my fresh set is Max being out, but not because, I thought you were going
to go with Williams. That's why I didn't go with Williams.
Oh, no. Because we know Max had to get through Austria because he has these penalty points. If he messed up at all and got any sort of penalty points, he would not be able to drive in Silverstone.
Yeah.
So I was really looking forward to a race of seeing what Max was going to do and what was going to be able to come, especially starting in 7th, where he's got to make his way through the grid. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be cinema. Because he has to be on his P's and Q's. He needs to do everything clean if he wants to race next week. I mean, if he didn't, then if he wants a week off.
Maybe that's why he wasn't so upset when he got taken out. Like, all right, well, I can't lose points today.
Cool. Yeah.
Or I can't get any points. So there you go.
So, I mean, it's good for him that he has some points back and he can be as reckless as he wants again. But I was kind of hoping to see either a restrained Max or just like a
I don't think he would have seen a restrained max. I
No.
think he still would have seen the same thing. He would have at some point
Yeah.
fought with George or wherever, and I think they would
Yeah.
have kept it more clean.
Yeah.
But I don't think you were going to see anything restrained.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just kind of sucked for him
Yeah.
to be. I mean, both of them to lose. Anytime you lose drivers on lap one, it's like, ugh. And especially something like being locked up and you just can't stop. Like,
Yeah.
that really sucks. I mean, Checo had it almost and almost took Max out, which would not have been good with your own teammate doing that. But yeah, it does suck to lose people on lap one, corner two, or corner one. So, but yeah, that was that.
All right.
All right. Well, like we said, next week is Silverstone, which is always a fun race. We've got lots of British drivers. Lewis won last year. Yeah, he did. Lando, hope he wanted to win. He wanted his first race win to be Silverstone. He's now in a car that he could win Silverstone, yeah. So it might be a home race winner.
Or
next
do we
week.
See the pressure get to him again? And
yep. That's what I'm going with. But yeah, it's George's home race. Yeah, a lot of them will be really happy for that race. So I think it's always an exciting one as well. Iconic race. So yeah, we will be back next week with a race review of Silverstone. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Grab a fresh set.
Bye.